Welcome in. It's the Second Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and we are halfway home in Canada. And boy, oh boy, there is a lot to talk about. Joining me to do just that, Greg DuCharme is here. Gregors, hey, buddy.
There is a lot to talk about from this one, Rick. I mean, I don't know where you want to start. Normally, we go with like a round of the day. We'll do, there's some kind of reason for it. Today, I feel like you can either start at the top of the leaderboard or the bottom of the leaderboard. Just an incredible day in Canada.
Both would be acceptable indeed. We just got off. You were very gracious. You invited me onto the Wrap PGA Tour radio. We just completed our segment. Oliver was listening to it. I said to you, Greg, it was like a little appetizer, a little warm up for my hot takes. I feel like I was in the batting cages. I got loose and now I'm ready to rock.
Speaking of the batting cages, I have another softball game tonight. Right down the street. I think tickets are sold out already, so I'm not even going to tell you where it is.
Yeah.
But I'm getting loose for that too. And I feel loosened up for this show too. This is getting a nice little warm up and it's great.
Yeah, I got the notification on SeatGeek. Prices are just through the roof on the secondary.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, everyone. Let's start with the round of the day, and it might not be the kind that you thought. It was a 78 from Rory McIlroy, who will not be around for the weekend. We actually started 2 minutes late because Armino was still taking the time to put all the squares on this scorecard graphic because there were a lot of them. Greg, here we go. A quadruple on 5, a bogey on 8, a bogey on 10, a double on 11, a bogey on 13, a circle, a birdie on 15, gives it back on 17 with a bogey, and then he ends his round to complete the 78 with a birdie.
Look, this is a bad round. Okay, it's a bad round. I don't even know where to go with this. Like, there are so many different places you could go. It's not worth breaking down how he made a 8 on number 5, right? That's not really the point. The point is he could not get the ball in play, and it makes you question. I struggle with this as a golfer because we've all played bad rounds. What is your level of focus when it gets past a certain point? If you're Rory McIlroy, you go shoot 40, and then you turn around and go bogey double on your next 2 holes. Like, what are we doing here? Okay, you won the career Grand Slam. This just can get out of hand quick. So I just think it brings up bigger issues, like what's going to happen next week. He is so far from U.S. Open ready. I mean, miles away. What does that mean? He doesn't even know what's going to be under the biggest head cover in his bag. He's miles away. So how quickly can he get tuned up? And does he want to get tuned up? He talked about earlier this week, Rick, about the struggle to go put in 3 or 4 hours of work. Does the U.S. Open give him that motivation?
So there have been a couple of concerning quotes that I think by themselves, you can take them however you want. When you start adding them up, I'm starting to get more worried. That one right there, which I get. And I thought about that after the career Grand Slam, but I was like, nah, he's just going to rattle off like, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever. But I was like, he after he won the career Grand Slam, he was very much like, I have done it all. I have ascended the mountaintop. There is nothing left for me to do. And at the time, I was like, wow, man, this is great. This career accomplishment, he's very happy. I did not really necessarily believe that it was going to infiltrate practice moving forward and the ability to get amped up for golf tournaments. I believe I was wrong.
I kind of was of the belief that maybe this was a possibility, but I thought it was much more likely that he was going to be free, that this was not so much I've done it, but I've gotten the monkey off the back. And now, like he said, what did he say in Full Swing this year, walking past the picture of him from 2014, he said, I got to play like that guy.
Right.
I kind of thought that would help him play like that guy. but maybe that guy put in a lot of effort. That I don't think it just came easy to 2011, 12, 13, 14. That elk of Rory McIlroy. I think he probably made it look so easy because he put in so much hard work.
Statistically, it's even uglier than you can imagine. I was just telling you on Sirius there. I have over 1,100 rounds on Rory McIlroy in my database, 1,118. This is the second worst round of his career. The only one worse was round 2 of the 2013, then called the Northwestern Mutual World Challenge, which is now the Hero World Challenge, which is a hit and giggle. So this is effectively the worst round of his career.
Well, that's a good thing because this was pretty bad. So, I looked that up earlier, Rick, on your site, thinking this has to be the worst. And it's worse than 2011 Masters. I wasn't sure where that would rank.
That is now the third worst. Yes, this one's right in between the Hero World Challenge and that round at the Masters.
I'm sure that day hurt a whole lot more than this day did. I don't know how much this hurts Rory. I don't think it does at all. But again, it just raises the question of his willingness to get ready for a U.S. Open. And look, I'm not being critical. I totally get it. I mean, I would understand if he never played golf again after winning the Masters.
We might have talked about this, but I cannot remember who it was. So there was somebody in the media at the Masters going into Sunday that was like, this should be the last round of golf Rory McIlroy ever play. However it finishes.
No matter what.
If he loses this multiple shot lead to Bryson, it should be the last round he ever plays. And if he wins the career Grand Slam, it should be the last round he's ever played.
Yeah, it had that kind of meaning. And like you said, he did it. Right? This was the end of the movie.
Right.
The problem is he's 36 years old?
Yeah.
Like that's too young. He's in too good a shape for that to be the end of the movie. Well, it should be like the first scene of the second act.
Oh, of the sequel of Rory 2.
Right. That's what it should be. But I don't know. We haven't seen that yet. Let's just put it that way.
All right. If I can concoct a Freaky Friday situation and you are now Rory McIlroy, you wake up tomorrow and you are now Rory McIlroy. What are you doing? Because you are days away from Oakmont, which by all accounts is going to destroy these guys. And you have no idea where your best weapon is going.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go hit some drivers.
I bet.
Right. And it's going to be Friday morning. I'm going to be back in Florida. I'm going to have my fitter with me at 8:00 in the morning, maybe 10. Maybe I sleep in a little bit. And it's going to be Saturday morning. What did I say? Friday. It's going to be Saturday morning. I am going to hit a lot of drivers. I'm going to find a couple that I think are, so I'm going to narrow it down. I'm going to find a couple that work. Sunday, I'm going to travel to Oakmont. I'm going to get some, I may rest a little Sunday after hitting so many drivers Saturday. I may go and do the thing on Sunday night with a wedge and a putter and go see the greens, walk the golf course, hit some putts and chips. Monday, back to drive. I'm putting the driver to the test, and I'm going to try to get out on the golf course and verify some lines. Tuesday is another good work day, and then hopefully by Wednesday you feel good enough to take it easy. But I'm not letting tomorrow get past me without narrowing this down to like 3 drivers that I really like.
I imagine it doesn't matter if it is TaylorMade's newest driver, second newest driver, third new. He is past the point of making sure he's using what's best for TaylorMade. He is going to find anything that he has ever worked with and see if he can get it in play.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's one from 2011 when the faces were too thick to actually get too hot. I mean, who knows? Maybe he pulls one out of the garage. I really don't know, but I'm sure they're going to be able to put something in his hands that he feels confident with.
Rory McIlroy beat. Here are the golfers that Rory McIlroy beat, and we'll move on. He beat Matthew Pavone, who had a 12 today.
12
on his very first hole, which is just a horrendous way to start, as you can imagine. Props for him finishing this round. He only
5 birdies.
He was only 2 over after that.
So, yeah. Like legitimately good golf after that. He also made a 7. But 5 birdies. That's nice.
Yeah. He also finished ahead of Wes Heffernan, Mark Hoffman, and David Hearn. Those are the 4 golfers that finished worse than Rory McIlroy did this week.
Well, just ask them. Rory's tough to beat.
That was pretty good. I wasn't expecting that. Let's continue with the bad before we get to the good. We don't need the level of concern, I imagine, but just to give the update, Luke Clanton, very first PGA Tour start as a professional, battled, grinds through 2 rounds, 70-69. This second round, he made a double early on number 3, fought back after that, had some chances late, made 2 birdies, actually was 3 under and bogey free from 6 on, and he was 3 under in that stretch. He is going to miss the cut. Level of concern, I imagine, is about 0.
Yes, it is 0. Look, these are the challenges of being a PGA Tour pro. You don't really know what's going to happen on the golf course. You get into a big group like that, those lights are shining bright, and it's a challenging thing. I was really pleased with the way he fought, because he started his first round 3 over through. He started on the back 9. He was 3 over after 16, so I guess that's through 7 holes. And got it back to even. Unfortunately, the double at 3 kind of costly today. But all in all, I think it's pretty good stuff from Luke Clanton, and just kind of scraping the surface of what his ability level really is.
Max Homa on the wrong side of the cut line, a pair of 69s, 2 under par. The cut line was 3 under. We have seen Max put together some of the rounds of the day over the course of the past few weeks. We've also seen him put together some really ugly rounds. I kind of like that this was just a pair of 69s, very consistent. Let's tighten this thing up.
Yeah, I don't think this is a disaster by any means. Things are getting closer to looking good, right? He probably could have used a couple more putts to fall today, and all of a sudden he's inside the cut line, and maybe has a chance in this tournament. So I think Max is a little slower than I'd like to see, but it's definitely getting better, more so than it's getting worse, in my opinion.
I would agree with you. Let's get to the top of the board here, and it is an unlikely leaderboard. Cameron Champ leads the way. That is right. You heard me correct. Not Cam Young, not Cam Smith, not any other Cameron, not Cam Davis, not any other Cam that might be out there. We're talking about Champ in this scenario. He is 12 under par thanks to rounds of 62, 66. He is the only man, Greg, who remains bogey free throughout the week. A 2-shot lead going into the weekend for a guy who has struggled mightily over the course of the past few years and is currently playing a split schedule between the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry Tour.
Yeah, and it's more so the Korn Ferry Tour, right? I mean, this is his 6th event on the PGA Tour this year. He's missed 3 cuts. He's got a tied 15th and maybe a tied 19th in his 2 PGA Tour starts that he actually made the cut. Look, the Korn Ferry Tour hasn't gone great either. No top 10s on the Korn Ferry Tour for a player of this caliber, and he comes out here and he's made 12 birdies and no bogeys. It's really impressive. And Rick, we were talking about this earlier. 25% of the time he's finished inside the top 10, he's won. Yeah. He's got 0 seconds. He's got 0 thirds. I never remember Cam Champ coughing anything up. No. Like, it's just a matter of, can he get here? And now he's here. This is not the surprising guy that I want on top of the leaderboard if I'm a chaser.
Okay, so is that a real thing? Like the knack to close when you're in it? Nick Taylor, who we'll talk about, has a similar skill set, right? 5 wins in like 24 top 10s. Cam Champ has what, 4 wins in whatever it is. I don't know.
Cam Champ has 3 wins.
Oh, okay, 3 wins.
He has 12, maybe 13 top 10s.
Yeah. So like, is that a real thing, or is that just the cards falling in your favor more frequently?
It might be a function of the tournaments that you're in, but I think it's a real thing. There are a lot of players, like another Cameron Young, right? He would get himself in the mix a lot, and wasn't able to win. And there's, if it happens once, I get it. A surprise guy goes out there and wins. He had a great 4 days. Do it again. Okay, you do it a third time. Now we're getting somewhere. Like, if he plays well, he knows how to get the job done. He knows what to do in these tournaments. And when guys have a little, when they step away and come back, it's not the final round that I worry about. It's the rounds leading up to it. Can you even get there? Can you get in the mix? Now, I think this gives you an opportunity to lean on your instinct, and his instinct is something that produces trophies.
So Cam Champ, who doesn't have a top 10 finish in quite some time, has a 2-shot lead over Andrew Putnam, who doesn't have a top 10 finish in quite some time. He does not have a top 10 finish this year. In fact, his last top 10, I'm scrolling through his profile right now, the 2024 API. So that is about 15 months ago. As I scroll through this, Andrew Putnam goes 68-62. The 62 that he shot today was splendid, bogey free, just birdies all over the yard. And then he sat down with Kira K. Dixon afterwards and kind of lamented that this golf course is too long for him. Greg, that doesn't sound like a very confident golfer going into the weekend.
No, it doesn't. But it's like, it's not too long for him if he hits every fairway like he did today. You know, a lot of those big numbers that we saw came from guys being in the absolute hay, right? They're stuck in the long grass. The fairways are wide, but you don't want to miss them. It's quite penal when you miss them. But Andrew Putnam played from the fairway all day. And so, look, a 530-yard par 4 is long. If you make that a par 5, you're going to make 4. Yeah, you may make some 3s. Even if you're a short player, a short hitter like Andrew Putnam. So, I mean, getting the ball in the fairway is a really important thing for him. The concerning part to me is how much of the work he's done and is doing with his short game and putting. Yeah. He's second around the green, third putting for the week. It puts a lot of pressure on that drive. Like, he can't miss. He's got to hit 12 fairways the next 2 days. If he does that, I think he's got a fighting chance.
12 under par for Cam Champ, 10 under par for Andrew Putnam, a quartet, that's 4, at 9 under. Thorbjorn Olesen, we'll give him the holler here, Greg. 61-70. We've got his scorecard from round number 1. It was awesome. And he continued in literally the same shirt that he was wearing on Monday in his U.S. Open final qualifying, gets through in the Ontario qualifier, goes out and shoots a 61. As you can imagine, I was looking through his profile. Now, he's got a couple of decent results this year, Greg. A T5 at the Texas Open, a T7 in Myrtle Beach. These are 3 guys at the top of the board who are starved for a good finish.
I think that's a really good word. You know, a couple of interesting stats about Thorbjorn, though. 13th in strokes gained total for the year on the PGA Tour. 4th in scoring average. 11th tee to green. And 81st putting. It just, he hasn't been able to put rounds together like he did in round 1, right? He hasn't been able to get hot, which is what you need to do to get in contention in so many of these tournaments. So I think there's a lot of good things going with his game. I think he's sitting at home. He's not saying this golf course is too long, or I know I shot 62 today, but I got lucky. You know, he's feeling really good. And he was clearly seeing the greens rather well and has been so far this week. One thing that was concerned, he hit a couple of wild tee balls today in the second round. You know, he had a wild one at number 1, had to pitch out, ended up making a 30-footer for par, hit a wild one at 10 and a wild one at 16. That's going to be that could be problematic because he made a couple putts, 3 putts outside of 24 feet today. That's a hard thing to lean on. So you're in a nice position, but we got to clean this stuff up over the weekend because you're not gonna keep making 40-footers all week. It's very unlikely.
It's incredibly unlikely. So those are the 3 at the top of the board, including Richard Lee and Victor Perez. But there are a couple of notables who we have to get to. But before we do that, I need to tease something, Greg. This is breaking news. Breaking news that assuming all goes well on Tuesday, I'm going to add her to the stream right now. Producer Mina, who is wearing the Second Cut merch on her head right now. I believe Tuesday that will be available. Hats, shirts. I think there's a polo. I think there's a quarter zip. I think there's a sweatshirt. She has been working hard. She's got her Second Cut hat on. And I think we're going to be able to launch that store on Tuesday.
Let's go. U.S. Open Tuesday.
That's right.
Mina sent some pictures of all the merch, shared that with me, which it looks great. It's sweet. Nice way to support. And look, I just think that the logo is so cool and so unique. And there's a couple different options on there. So I can't wait to see how that turns out.
Yeah, we'll need a name for him. Like there's the Jump Man. I think there's like the Swing Man. We're gonna need a name for him.
Who's the golden? What Kyle Porter loves the gold boy. Yeah, he loves that at the Players. Yeah, we got to come up with a name for the Neon Man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that one out. Couple of big boys lurking here, particularly in the form of Nick Taylor. 66-65, and that was even with a little bit of sloppy play coming in with bogeys on 13 and 15 today. I just set everything else aside. I would love if Nick Taylor won this golf tournament. I love the way he ended the 70-year drought. We know that story. We know he's the logo. I felt so bad for him when he did not make the President's Cup team, and it was the right call. It was 100% the right call. I felt horrible for him. I would love to see him win this golf tournament.
On serious, Rick, before you were on, we had Mark Zecchino on, who is from Canada and loves Canadian golf. And he gives you some real insight into what this tournament means. And it's like they take it so seriously.
Yeah.
It's such a big deal for them. And I know it is for us. It's a really special event. It's their national championship, and they really view it that way. And he was telling me they had some dark times. There were in the 70s and 80s. This was a great event, like talk of the Triple Crown kind of thing. It was a major event. Greg Norman would play. They'd always have world number 1 there. And then it started to really struggle. They couldn't find a spot in the calendar. In these last couple of years, you get Rory McIlroy winning, you get a couple changes on the business side of things, and Nick Taylor winning, and it just feels like it's opened the floodgates for all these other Canadian players. And if he could do it again, it would be a 6th win on the PGA Tour. When Nick Taylor won at Pebble Beach all those years ago, I never would have thought he would become a 6-time winner. And that was his 2nd win. I would not have thought he'd become a 6-time winner.
He was like 300-1 to win that week. There was really not a lot of confidence that he was going to be contending on a regular basis. And you're right. It snapped at a 6-year drought. He won in 2014 at Sanderson. Then the last couple of years, I think we might have talked about this before the week started. This might be, it's not the longest active streak, but he's got to win in 2023, 2024, 2025. Not a lot of guys are a 1 win per year guy.
No, it's impressive. Cam Champ did it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
4 years ago. But it's a hard thing to do. And he's not like he's not one of the elite guys in the game, right? He's not a favorite going into majors. He's not a consistent regular performer like a Shane Lowry, who's just always on the board. But when he is, you better take him seriously because he will not go away.
He's him and Cam Champ are going to be a rock and a hard place when they're both inside the top 10. They're the same thing. If they get in the top 10, they close it. What happens if they're both in there?
You got two closers. I mean, maybe we're set up for a tie, the first ever tie in the Canadian Open.
How many? Okay, question. How many playoff holes would an event have to go to before they just said, listen, it's a tie?
That is a hysterical question. What would it be, like 18? I mean, it's not out of the question to come back the next day.
Right.
So what is it at the Players? They come back the next day at like what, 8? What was that, 8:10?
Yeah. So, okay. So you come back the next day and like, okay, what if you just play a full 18? That's like 4 or 5 hours and we're still tied. Would they play 36? And then what if they ran out of daylight on Monday? They'd have to be like, we can't take this to Tuesday.
Yeah, it would be. It's hard to even imagine that happening.
I think if they got to 18, I think if they actually played a whole nother round, they would have to stop and have a conversation about it. Like, this is insane. What are we doing?
We're making history.
Yeah, but we made history probably 10 holes ago.
Right. Well, yeah, it could be 10, and probably not 10, because you had an 8-hole playoff with Harris English.
Yep, and Richie Werenski. I always confuse him with that other guy.
No, it wasn't Werenski.
Yeah, I always confuse Richie Werenski and the other guy in that playoff.
It was not Lee Hodges.
They made 8 straight pars or whatever. 7.
Was it Lee Hodges?
No.
Oh my gosh.
It was I can't stop thinking about Richie Werenski.
I could see it. No, it's not Richie Werenski. It's not Nick Coles. I'm gonna get this.
I'm gonna look it up. I won't tell you when I get it. I got it.
Oh shoot! I could see his face. Tell me.
Kramer Hickok.
Ah. I was seeing the wrong face, but I was right in the neighborhood.
All right.
Anyway,
they would stop at 18 and have a conversation, and then I don't know.
You got to play at least one more.
Okay, so what if they get to 25?
I think they'd play all day Monday.
Okay, if they played all day Monday and ran out of light,
tie.
Cannot come back on Tuesday.
No, I don't. With no weather.
Yeah, no weather. Like a tie.
They just keep tying.
Oh man,
tying for 8 straight holes is crazy.
Dude, do you remember? I was like, this is never gonna end. It was fairway, green, 2 putts, like the entire time.
It's like somebody's got to make it.
Yeah, like somebody make a 15-footer and send us home. Wouldn't do it.
Well, hopefully, I mean, Mark would be rolling over right now if
Mark would have a
heard us
conniption
talking about this.
Yeah, you'd have a conniption if you heard talks of 25-hole playoffs. Nick Taylor's 9 under is 3 shots back. The 8 unders are very interesting, Greg, because this is where Jake Knapp, Shane Lowry, and Sam Burns reside. On the radio, I said this is really this or 9 under are the real lead, because I don't trust the guys at the top of the board. But Lowry, Knapp, and Burnsy, I think, are all pretty live in this thing.
Yes, I do too. I mean, Lowry hit it great today. I'm a little worried. I have my worries about Lowry because we've been all over him this year. By the way, I love the cut, man.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sold.
Jacob Nelson, the cut man. I mean, he's taken a cut, right? A swing is a cut.
Yes.
Jacob, we will get you. Jacob, email me. Rick at Rick Run Good. I'll get you a hat. or something, it's the cut man. That's exactly
Yes.
what it is.
Sold
to Jacob. Congratulations. But we own that now, so we're going to take it from you.
Yes. Do not copyright it, please. All right. So Shane Lowry hit like a lot of shots inside of 20 feet with his irons that he just couldn't get any of them to go. Like, I mean, he missed birdie putts from 11 feet, 10 feet, 2 inches, 18 feet, 14 feet, 17 feet, 12 feet. And that's what he does. He's third on tour in strokes gained approach for the year. Shane Lowry does that. I'm a little worried about it coming together.
Are you worried about him closing? Because I'm worried about him closing.
Yes.
He does this every week. Every week, he hits that beautiful little baby cut into the middle of the fairway. He stuffs one to 12 feet. He makes a lot of them. He misses a lot of them, and he finishes T4. And it's going to be a great week. But man, I don't know. I never feel like Lowry's about to win a golf tournament.
And I've picked him a lot. You know, I have like, because the numbers always look so good. It's like, this is Lowry. Right. I just don't know. He puts so much into it. Right. I'm saying this in a good way. He cares so much. I wonder if he runs out of energy on Sunday sometimes. So I'm worried about that. Sam Burns, he's my golfer of the week.
Yes.
I'm not worried about it. He's doing exactly what we thought he might. Right. He is putting well, fine. Not even crazy. He's 17th in the field in putting, but he's 18th approaching the green. He's already gained 3 shots on approach, 36th off the tee. This is a solid profile.
I was like 60-40 on Sam Burns on Monday. I was like, okay, I see where this is going. You stamped him with golfer of the week. We talked about him a lot. I was sold. I picked him in I think I have Burns in most of my one and dones, Lowry in the rest. I love the profile. It is exactly the profile of peak Sam Burns. A pair of 66s, approach and putting. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, and length. Right, and length. So, we were talking about with Olesen. We were talking about with Nick Taylor. You know, these guys have to hit fairways to contend. It's nice if Sam Burns does. He can't hit it into the hay, but he doesn't have to hit fairways. He's got the speed to handle it. So I think that's a really big edge as well. And he's the best putter in the field.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes. Like literally the best putter.
Yeah.
I think he's number 1 on tour this year.
He is.
Yeah. But
even if you look at it from a, career perspective, he's the best putter in this field.
The other game, it's time for the game called How Far Back is Too Far Back. We need someone to make up like a game show.
Yeah.
With a little ditty, and we'll play that segment there. How far back is too far back? And
we need 2 of them. That one and what is the real lead?
Right. Yes. Anybody out there who has the skills to be able to pull that off, please slip into my DMs or to email would be much better. I do not check my DMs that often. 3 under par was the cut line. 68 golfers to the weekend. 3 under is 9 back, but it's 6 back off the real lead. So how far back is too far back?
I was originally looking at it and thinking like the 5s have a lot of work to do, but they probably have a chance. 4s seem a little too far back for me. I know you were very much on 4 and close to 3.
Yeah.
When we talked earlier.
Yeah.
So you kind of pulled me down a little bit.
There's the thing that I think with this golf course is that it creates a huge range of scores. I mean, we saw a 62 and an 82 today. Now, even if you don't want to go that far, like Eric Cole shot a 75 and Victor Perez shot a 65. That's a 10-shot difference. The way the holes lay out is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 holes playing over par there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playing under par and 3 that are right on it. So what that's creating, Greg, is it's not like every hole is just like everyone just plays 18 holes a little bit under par. You see big changes. If you birdie a hole, if you birdie 10 or 11, you're picking up a ton on the field. If you birdie 16 or 17, you're picking up a ton on the field. If you bogey or, if you bogey 12 or if you par 1 or par 18, you're losing a lot. So there are bigger swings because of the way these holes are playing. It's like we had Riviera, the first couple holes at Riviera, it's like they're both par 4.5s or whatever, right?
Yes.
So like it's like that. You get a lot of half pars around here, and it creates this huge range of scoring.
I think that's a really good way to look at it, because like not only in the scores that you put on the card at the end of the day, but also hole by hole. If you see, like Ludwig Oberg made a 7 on a par 3, he made a quad. He played great. But he hit it a little left on 11. It gets up in the hay, leaves it in the hay, leaves it in the hay, leaves it in the hay. Like that could happen to Cam Champ. It's not that big of a miss.
He made a 7 without losing a golf ball.
Right.
It's out there.
Yes. And that's probably that hole probably played over par. But it's not, 16 or 17. It's a challenging hole, but not the hardest hole on the course. Right, 10 is where Matthew Pavone made a 12. Rory made a 8 at number 5. 16 and 17 are the hardest holes on the course. So 13 is brutal. We've seen guys chip out at 13. So I think your point is very valid. Very valid, Rick.
The favorite, according to our friends in the desert, is Cam Champ. He's 4.5 to 1 to win the Canadian Open. Then you get a trio at 9 to 1. Thorbjorn Olesen, who's 3 shots back. Nick Taylor, who's 3 shots back. Shane Lowry is 4 shots back. Andrew Putnam and Sam Burns are both 10 to 1. Everybody else is longer than that. I'll hit you with some notables. Jake Knapp is 20 to 1. Mackenzie Hughes is 50 to 1. Cam Young is 55 to 1. That's as notable as I'm willing to go. But yeah, a pretty decent. If you want to, you can have whatever you want. If you think Burnsy or Lowry is the class and they're going to win this golf tournament, you can get a pretty good number on them. If you think that there's going to be a lot of movement and Cam Young has a chance or Keith Mitchell has a chance, you can also get a long shot.
Yeah. I don't mind them from a scoring perspective. I just don't like Keith Mitchell or Cameron Young actually winning.
Me neither.
That's the problem.
Not at all.
I love their skill set. If they were switched with Sam Burns, I'd have a different opinion. I'd be going down there with them as a long shot. But I'm going to ride with Sam Burns. Nick Taylor would be another guy that I like. I really like the way he closes out golf tournaments. I love it. I think he's got more than Taylor Pendrith, who's also somewhat in the mix, but a little farther back.
Yeah. Pendrith was the other one that caught my. He's 18 to 1. He's 7 under, so he's 5 shots back. He's 2 shots back of Nick Taylor. That was the one that I was just looking through his scorecard actually.
I like him to play well. I don't think that he's going to win this tournament. So, if you could find him for a top 5 at this point at a value you liked or a matchup or something like that, I'm into Taylor Pendrith, but not to win.
Taylor Pendrith top 5 is 3.5 to 1. Not bad.
Not bad. Could be live.
Anything else that we missed from Canada? The Great White North, our neighbors to the north. Anything else?
I can't wait to watch the rest of it. I think on Thursday, this golf course looked kind of like it was going to get really beaten up. But we saw a little bit of the other side of things as well today, which is a good sign. It reminds us that weather has a big deal, plays a big role in scoring. I think that's what we saw on Thursday. So I really can't wait for the weekend.
Today, TPC Toronto did the beating. All right. Well, listen, we will be back on Sunday. We will recap whatever happens at the Canadian Open, and we will look forward to that pesky U.S. Open at Oakmont. Big thanks to producer Mina, who does all the hard work behind the scenes. Greg DuCharme is available at The Real GFD. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.